This Fleet Equipment Unscripted interview is presented by Hendrickson, a leading manufacturer of heavy-duty suspension systems and components to the global commercial transportation industry. Visit hendrickson-intl.com to learn more.
Hi everyone, I'm Jason Morgan, editor of Fleet Equipment, and welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted. Today we're talking with Brett Johnson, President and CEO of Optronics. Brett, thank you for taking the time to connect. Happy to catch up with you.
Well, thank you, Jason. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and talk to our industry professional friends out there.
That's right. It's a great way to keep connected. We're all living in these weird video conference rooms now. But wanted to catch up with you. Optronics has been really busy. A lot of announcements here this year still, never mind all the pandemic and uncertainty that's going on. And one of the things that kind of caught my attention was some of the interior trailer lighting options that you have, that you've announced here in the air. It really kind of got me thinking, okay, well, that's interesting. What's that all about, and how do I improve my efficiency and safety for that? So glad to catch up here. I kind of want to just dive in and just kind of ask, what applications are those increased interior lighting options really good for? We're heading into the winter months here. Days are, nights are longer. What should I be considering?
Well, that's a good question. And, I guess it's not necessarily a matter of an increased number of applications, because we're still using interior lighting for the same things we always have, whether that's an interior cargo space for a box truck or a trailer, to a cab, onto compartments in a work truck. But what has changed the interior lighting business, or the interior lighting game, is the explosive growth in the demand for it. And really that's driven by, like a lot of things, it's driven by technology. It's also driven by the advances in LED, advances in optics, as well as just a lot of, particularly from Optronics perspective, we've just been doing a lot of different design work, if you will. We're just putting out a lot, using the technology, using the optics, we're putting out a lot of different design work in terms of modular lighting, and it's just exploded in the demand, or the demand has exploded, I should say, driven by that technology.
I see. Does that provide more kind of like an even better lit area within the trailer, kind of getting rid of some of those shadows and dead spots, that kind of thing?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And, one way to look at it is, I guess from some factors, and some really key factors that are driving this is, number one is positioning of the lighting within the cargo, whatever area you're talking about. Obviously, what I mentioned earlier, optical engineering, and as well as the development and adoption of smart technology. And what you are referring to really kind of falls under both the light positioning as well as the optical engineering. And as you know, historically, particularly with incandescent lighting, that lighting, let's use the trailer. Let's use a trailer as an example on this one. You've got that lighting going right down the middle of the trailer to maximize the amount of light coming out. Well, I think it's fairly common sense to understand that that's kind of a dangerous place to be putting lighting, with equipment, whatever it is, with all of the equipment and things that you're doing inside of the trailer, causing a lot of damage, which is affecting your overall cost of ownership and the longevity of the lights. Well, one thing that we've done, and we've really accelerated over the last 2 years, particularly this year, has been the development of corner lighting. And I've just a couple of that we've actually had press releases on them over the past couple of months. One of them is our ILL38 CMB. And what we've done there with an LED light is we've designed it to where it attaches to the corner. It attaches the bracket, or the light housing, I should say, attaches to the wall as well as the ceiling. And therefore you're removing it from that kind of dangerous center area, if you will. And along with that, the optical engineering that you have to do to ensure that you're getting that cross lighting, where you're getting that entire area. Actually, we just did a press release. Well, this is I think it was October. We also just introduced some modular lighting, which is our ILL23CB, which is it's 17 inches long and about a 3/4 inch thick. But the key thing is, number one, it also easily mounts on the corners, and it's modular. Yeah, on each side of that light, you've got a trim cap or whatever on one side, and on the other is the power receptacle. And you can actually link, up to 7 of these. I believe we can go up to about 7 feet of just a very smooth modular light all along. And that's when we're referring to the spacing and the position of the light. Those are 2 examples of products that we've developed that have, again, really, increased the game or up the game.
Right. No, placement makes a lot of sense. I mean, we all hear about how much forklifts and other equipment can bang up trailers all over in there, and you don't want to create a maintenance issue. What's interesting to me too is this is one of those improvements that you can really see, right? As soon as you add it to the trailer, you get a sense for the improvement. You see literally the value there. But of course, fleet managers always like to have a ROI or kind of line item there saying, okay, this is why we're improving this overall. Is there a formula or something they can look to that you'd advise for them, or is it really that optical difference?
No, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, from an ROI perspective, well, obviously what we're talking about, when you're increasing visibility, you're increasing safety, and you're always going to have a good return on investment from that regard. But there are other ways. And I guess one way to look at it, we can not only from the positioning and increasing the longevity of the light, that's true return on investment when you're not having to replace your lights, but also the smart technology that I referred to a little bit earlier. I'm going to use an example that we have. We have a Diamond series, and as well as that ILL38 I talked about, we've actually developed that now where it's got 4 different types of operation. And obviously you have your standard on and off switch, or you got your hardwired, but also we've got what we call smart touch technology that we've integrated into this Diamond series. And the second one that I'll talk about is infrared, is PRI. And on the smart touch, particularly in cab areas or smaller compartments, with a smart touch allows the operator, number one, to be able to dim it and put it at any brightness level he wants. And not only that technology will remember what that dim feature was or what that dim level was. But more importantly, to what you're talking about on ROI is when you're looking at PIR, which is passive infrared. That is the motion detectors. And so developed our Diamond series. We've added the feature to the ILL38 where we implement that PIR, and that you don't have to worry about remembering or forgetting whatever to turn it on the lights or off the lights. And it's just not just a matter of the ROI on the lights, but what you're doing by ensuring that you've got an automatic on-off, for lack of a better term, is you're preserving the battery. It's all about power consumption, and you're preserving it, which is always a good ROI. Like the loss.
Yeah, hold on a minute here. Did you lose me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but that's because you're on the phone, but I've lost you on the screen.
Okay, hold on a second. Oh, there it goes. Came back. Are you there?
Yep, I see it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. I made a note here, and I'm going to jump up into my follow-up here. Okay, so now I have to full disclosure. Now you're talking my language because I am a lighting nerd. In my house, I have the smart lights. You mentioned the cab lighting and the dimmability. I mean, that's driver retention right there. It does make a huge difference when you can change kind of, how much turn any light into a dimmer light, right? Or whatever your setting is, if you're sleeping in the truck or anything like that. I mean, that's a huge kind of cool creature comfort for driver retention for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I also just to kind of focus back on that passive infrared as well. I think we might have gotten cut out, but I wanted to make sure that really when it comes to a on lighting, it's not just the lighting. It's ensuring that you're not drawing the battery, you're not draining the battery. So that's where you're getting some of the benefits of that. And then I've also got to put a plug in for Optronics as well here. And because anytime we're talking about return on investment and lifetime LEDs, is we basically support a good ROI by the fact that we offer a lifetime warranty. And we've got a one diode warranty policy, which means any diode goes out, we replace it, hassle free. And that's another thing, and that's more of a general LED development, is just that, our warranty rates are so low because we've converted to SMD technology, which is a much more robust, if you will, LED technology. And so again, anytime we talk about ROI, I want to make sure that I'm able to bring that up as well.
Right, and a good segue into my next question about maintenance, right? I know there's relatively little maintenance a lot of times with LED and that technology, but what are the maintenance tips there to keep those lights safe and operational? And kind of in addition to that, with improved lighting in and around the truck, what other maintenance items could you be catching just because you can see them? Does that ever happen as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. And my first answer to any time you talk about preventive maintenance is, well, the first step in preventive maintenance happens before the preventive maintenance, and that is in the features and the spec of the actual lighting system that you're getting in the vehicle. That's what you do on the front end is going to help you on the back end. And that's why it's very important that from an electrical system perspective, you've got the right features and the right spec to be able to battle that ever-present corrosion. Because as far as LED lights, from a preventive maintenance, from a PM perspective, you set them and you forget them. I mean, it really always comes down to the electrical. And interior is really not that much different than exterior. You want to be looking and ensuring that you have spec and you have molded connections. You want to reduce the number of those connections, which a molded system will do. I'll take this opportunity to get another Optronics in here, if you don't mind, as well.
Go ahead.
That was one of the big changes of this year, and in addition to the COVID mess we've all been in, is we made a pretty significant strategic acquisition of USA Harness, which is a harness manufacturer, custom harness manufacturer down in Texas. And so I'm going to add that to it because it is so critical that you get the right electrical system spec and the right features, and that is making sure that it is a molded system. Cut down on the number of connections you have. That's where corrosion can really get you. If you have more of a not a molded, but more of a modular system, the key thing is you just want to be sure and augment those connections with extra features, whether that's dielectric grease, whether that's heat shrink moisture barriers. That's really the key to lighting in terms of preventive maintenance, is ensuring that those connections are as sealed as possible. And the more you do up front, the better you are at the back end.
Right, for sure. No, the corrosion is a great point. I mean, there was snow on the ground here in Ohio today and yesterday. The de-icers are going to start coming out, and now is definitely the time. Make sure those connections are solid. Make sure you're keeping them clean and doing everything you need to do there, because that is an easy pull the truck over for a CSA violation if you have a lighting issue.
That's right. And I think probably a lot of our listeners here know that, lighting is the thing that is the most noticeable that gets you pulled over, and then they find other things. Right.
For sure. Brett, thank you so much for taking the time. Very cool to talk with you, and I'm sure we'll be catching up with you again soon.
Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you. I appreciate it.